Hey everybody, good morning. How are you? Hope that you're doing well. What a day. It's Friday. We made it to Friday. Congratulations. We made it another week. So really glad to have you all here. Really glad to see you. Hope that you're also doing well in your part of the world. I know I get viewers from all over, so hopefully you're doing well and your families are doing well. But I'm just really grateful that we get another day on this planet and another day to be able to get together and talk data science and kind of, share in that community and have some fun with it. So thank you so much for being here. Um, I am seeing a lot of growth across all of my platforms, whether it's X, or YouTube, or Instagram. So if you're new to my streams, welcome. Really glad to have you here. I usually ask people to introduce themselves with their city, state, province, country. Let me know where you're from. It's always good to see the global community of data scientists, and it's also an easy way for you to participate. I really don't want anybody to feel like they have to, be an advanced data scientist or ask some impressive question in order to be involved in the chat. Just let us know where you're from. It's a simple way to participate, simple way for you to get involved. If you're looking for another simple way to be involved, please take a look at the link that's in the chat. I usually pin a link to our Discord community where we're having a lot of conversation, a lot of chat. So please feel free to check that out. And hopefully it's something that, will be of interest to you and you can join in and participate away from the live streams, right? Because not everybody's able to attend a live stream, but the Discord is a really convenient way to attend. So I'm already seeing some people in the chat, which is great. Please go ahead and keep on introducing yourself. Today, for the stream, we're going to do something a little bit different. And we've done this before. So there is a company here in the US, a recruitment company known as Selby Jennings. And they regularly do these salary reports or job reports or recruiting reports, and they publish out those reports. So their reports on quantitative analytics, for the people who insist on being quants, I don't know why. We're going to take a look at their latest salary report for quants. And I like this salary report because it also includes a lot of international information. Selby Jennings does have an international presence, and they're including quite a bit of international data in this report. So we had previously done that for other data professionals, but it was a little bit more New York based, and I think it was more oriented towards the financial industry, which obviously this is also, but this is a little bit more specific to quant. So I'm really looking forward to kind of going through that report with you. We can kind of talk back and forth and, see what everybody thinks, right? Maybe some numbers in there'll be surprising, maybe they won't. I haven't really taken a deep look at the numbers. I just thought it's an interesting report. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I really don't have a very high impression of recruiters, right? Most recruiters are just terrible people, right? I mean, most recruiters were working the car rental desk at the airport last week, and all of a sudden they're technical recruiters this week, right? So this is one of the rare things that I do utilize from recruiters when they do put out reports, right? But most recruiters are completely worthless. So we might as well take some of the good from what they do publish, and this report seems decent, so we'll see what you guys think, right? So that's really kind of the plan for today. And if you guys have questions as we go along, feel free to pop them in the chat. It's good for you to look at these numbers, even if you have no interest in being a quant. It's good for you to kind of look at these numbers and be able to say, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of where the market is, or that's what quants do. Even if that's not your interest, it still pays to be informed and kind of, look at things in that way. So that's kind of the goal that I want to achieve today. Okay. All right. So I'm already seeing some people in the chat. Our good friend, Casual Economist from Minneapolis, saying good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Such a great supporter. Really appreciate you being here, Casual Economist. And I'm still keeping up. You know, I know you're keeping score at home, Casual Economist. I'm still keeping up with my 1,000 a day. So I'm just going to keep going with it. I know you're my accountant over there keeping score. So yeah, you let me know how I'm doing over there. Vara Prasad says Coventry, West Midlands, United Kingdom. Nice. I don't think I've seen you before, so I think it's your first time, so welcome. Sravan, our good friend Sravan says, good morning, Dennis. Good morning to you too, Sravan. Sravan says yesterday's session was good. Yes, Sravan, yesterday's session was a ton of fun. And I'm looking forward to part 2. Right, we're gonna extend that into part 2 because I think, you know, there's a couple things I didn't get a chance to go over. So for those of you that don't know, Sravan is referring to the live stream I did yesterday, where we studied some gold data. You know, I'm a big proponent. For those of you guys that are new, I am a big proponent of you going out there and doing your own studies. Don't wait for somebody to come along and anoint you as being a data scientist. You are a data scientist. So go out there, get the data, get the studies. And I showed how we do that yesterday. I have a personal interest in gold. So we went out there and we did it, right? We went out, we found a trade association, we found some data, we found some charts, we analyzed them, and you know, we got the ball rolling, right? There's a lot of things I still want to do, and I'm going to be doing them in a part 2. So you know, look for that coming up. Go to my YouTube, click notify, and it'll tell you all my sessions that are coming up. But get out there and do it. Get out there and do data science. And we did that yesterday. The chat was coming up with some really good ideas for future studies. I loved it. So yes, Raban, thanks for the comment. Thanks for being there yesterday. I know you're a great supporter. But you know, that's the type of content I want to keep on bringing to you guys because, you know, guys, I keep on telling you gotta believe me on this. Data science is not a theoretical science. You gotta get out there and do it. It's an applied science, okay? If this was an astrophysics channel, I wouldn't be telling you that because I can't tell you to go into outer space, right? This is not astrophysics. This is an applied science, right? You gotta get out there and do it, and we did it yesterday. So yeah, yesterday's session was fantastic. I know there's other people in the chat that were there yesterday, so yeah. Casual Economist says, your insults are hilarious. Then insults? Sir, I do not insult anybody on this channel. There are no finer people than recruiters and people that use PyTorch. Those are fine people, salt of the earth. I will not accept you saying that I insult people on this channel. Rex says, good morning everyone for NYC. Talk about another great supporter. Rex, thanks so much, my friend. Hope you're doing well out there in New York City. Manoj, our good friend from Mumbai. I believe you're Mumbai. Good morning, Dennis and all. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great, Manoj, and I hope everyone in the chat's also doing well. I got up early. I took my dog to the dog park. And you know what, guys? I got to tell you something. I am so happy that I live in a great city. So for those of you who don't know, I live in the greater Las Vegas area. But in particular, I live in one of like the neighborhoods of Las Vegas, one of the suburban neighborhoods. And I am so proud of my neighborhood because things get done here. Like the city is really on top of things. So for example, 2 weeks ago, well, first of all, we have this big, beautiful park, and it has tennis courts, pickleball courts, playgrounds for kids. Has a big soccer field, like big. You could do like 5 full soccer games on this field, like a big field. You know, a bunch of really good services, and then there's like these big dog parks. And then like a couple weeks ago, they completely repaved the parking lots. So the parking lots look brand new right now. They did such a good job. You know, they repainted the lines. About 2 weeks ago, I saw something funny at one of the local stores. So I actually ended up calling the police, and the police came and took care of things right away. You know, there was a situation at a store there. And the police came right away. And then today, when I went to the dog park this morning, the dog park was actually closed because they're going to completely redo the grass in the dog park. They're going to put in brand new grass for the dogs. So I'm just really proud of the city because they're just taking care of things. So this morning I went to the dog park. I didn't know it was going to be closed. I found out today. And we had to go to a different dog park, so no big deal. But I was just really happy to see that my city is just like on top of things. They're really, they're really moving. So I'm really happy for that. But yeah, my day is off to a great start because of all that. Sisse Mena, is that a city? What is that? Let us know in the chat, okay? Urganesh, welcome. I think it's your first time. Please let us know. Please let us know where you're from, okay? Michael, our good friend Michael from Benin City. Hello, Sir Dennis and everyone. Hello, Michael. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Yassine, another fantastic supporter. Thank you so much, Yassine. How is school going, Yassine? Hopefully your classes are doing well. Yassine, I'm still waiting for you to tell me that you're learning more from this than you are your classes. That's going to happen, my friend. You owe me that. Sarvesh is saying, hi, Dennis. Sarvesh here from Mumbai, India. Nice. Welcome, Sarvesh. Great to see you again. Rahul, our good friend who was raised in the mountains of India. Hi, Dennis. Hi, chat. How are you doing, Rahul? Let us know how you're doing. Hope you're well. Sanjay from Hyderabad, India, joining us on X. Yeah. More engagement on X. I love it. Thanks for joining in, Sanjay. Trying to grow that X presence. My followers were 6x'd last weekend, so trying to grow that X presence. Servan says, Dennis, you're breaking simple myths yet profound barriers, breaking into data science. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm not trying to just help you guys break in. I'm trying to help you guys, be professionals in the field. That's ultimately what I want to do, right? So for those of you that are new, I'm not here to help you pass interviews. I'm here to create data science professionals, right? That's really what I want, because that's me trying to help the industry overall, right? Because I'm an old guy, right? I'm in the second half of my career, right? I'm in the later stages of my career, right? So I'm just, this is me reaching my hand back, helping you guys, but helping the greater industry, right? Just like a retiring doctor wants to help younger doctors, right? Because it helps the greater community, right? So yeah, I'm just trying to help the next generation of data professionals. But so thank you for that, Servan. Mickey, our good friend Mickey. Mickey, you're back. I love seeing people come back. That's really encouraging to me. So Mickey on Twitch, keeping Rex company over there. And Rex can attest to this. I've been telling my mods, get ready. It's going to get busy. Rex, I know you don't always have people over there on Twitch, but we're going to start building it up. So Mickey, glad to see you. Thanks for coming back. Glad to see the audience growing on Twitch, the participation growing on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch, don't be shy. Introduce yourself. Click the subscribe button. Really happy to have you here. Okay, Manoj is from Bangalore. Sorry, Manoj, I got the wrong city there, but good to see you, my friend. Soccer skills analysis. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Victor Macon. I'm joining you from Nairobi, Kenya. Nice. Very cool. Love all my African followers. Africa as a continent is one of my huge markets in my analytics. So welcome, Victor. Mickey says, can't take those things for granted. You really can't. You really can't. I'm just really happy, with the city I live in. They're really on top of things. Yeah, I mean, like with the police situation I had, and, them taking care of the parks and all that. I mean, oh, that's right. And there was another situation. I forgot about that, where, I go a lot for morning walks. And there was one street in particular that has a bunch of street lights, like the tall street lights. Well, I think there's various reasons why this happened, but someone had gone down the street and they had broken into the base of those lights and ripped out the wires. I think there's multiple reasons why they did that. But they ripped out the wires, which caused the lights to go off, which made that street really dark. And I walk that street like on a near daily basis. So again, credit to my city. They fixed it within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know, and that took a little longer because I know they got to order parts and all that. And it was a lot of lights. It was like seven street lights, right? But they took care of it, right? So that was another situation I forgot to mention. But yeah, you really can't take that for granted when you're fortunate to live in a city where, you know, they stay on top of things. Mickey says, what kind of dog do you have? Yeah, so I've posted pictures of him before. Maybe I'll post another one today. But he's a Labra-Wawa. So if you guys want to look that up, Labra-Wawa. So interesting story with him. So a Labra-Wawa is half Labrador, half Chihuahua. And the whole point is that he looks like a permanent puppy, right? Because he's only like 20 pounds, but he clearly has like the Labrador ears and the Labrador snout, but he has the Chihuahua eyes and the Chihuahua size, right? So I got him from the pound, from a rescue pound here in my city. You know, I would never buy a dog. But he's actually like a what's known as a designer dog. You know, like you have to use a doctor or a lab to make these dogs. Like they don't happen naturally. Because it always has to be, what is it? It always has to be a male Chihuahua and a female Labrador. Because the female Chihuahua is not big enough to give birth to them. Right, because he's still 20 pounds, so he's bigger than a Chihuahua. So it always has to be a male Chihuahua with a female Labrador, and then the female Labrador gives birth. So the thing is that somebody paid a lot of money to make that happen, right? He's a designer dog. But somehow I found him at the pound. Which is crazy. But yeah, but he ended up at the pound. And I'm actually his fourth owner because he had been returned to the pound multiple times. People would adopt him and then return him. And they said because he had a little bit of a biting problem. And they would only, and the reason they chose me to adopt him, because, you know, you have to apply and all that, was because I didn't have kids. And he doesn't do well around kids. So they kept on asking me, so you don't have kids in the home, right? He can't go to a house with kids. And I was like, no, I'm by myself. So they let me adopt him and I trained him. You know, I spent time with him and he got rid of the biting problem, you know, which is great. He's a great dog. I mean, we've been together for 4 years now. But yeah, but he's a Labra-Wawa. He's a designer dog, you know. I didn't buy him though, because I want people to be clear on that. I don't buy dogs. I think that's disgusting. You know, especially when there's so many dogs in the pound. But yeah, but somebody paid a lot of money for him, but somehow he ended up at the pound. So, anyways, Rahul says the constant tug between learning and applying is making me crazy. How to set a mind into doing things simultaneously? Don't do it simultaneously, right? Do it bits at a time. You know, I think it was Fatima. I don't see Fatima here today, but Fatima asked that question, right? Where, you know, I said, look, if you're not ready for a full project, that's okay. But take the bits that you learn, right? Like I told you guys, like I remember learning about confidence intervals. Like that was like 1 week in my classes. It wasn't the whole class, you know. It's not difficult to learn confidence intervals. But I took that. And I said, okay, well, wait a minute. How can I apply that? What data am I reading about, or did I come across, or that somebody told me about that I can apply that to? So just go apply that. And then I remember I learned about A/B testing. So I thought, okay, how can I apply A/B testing? Right? And then if you put enough of those things together, now you can apply it to a whole study, right? So one bite at a time, Rahul. Doesn't have to be all at one time. Just little bits and pieces at a time, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Rex says, love the company here on Twitch. Yeah, Rex, I'm telling you, you're going to be busy. And I know you're a great host. I know you're over there welcoming people and all that. Yeah, we're going to grow on Twitch. You watch. I've met 3 of the 4 requirements for the partnership program on Twitch. Now that I have over 50 followers, I only have 1 requirement left. So we're gonna be busy on Twitch. You watch. Mickey says, glad to be back. Well, we're glad to have you back. Rahul says, I feel like lagging behind the world. No. Look, everybody's data science journey is different, right? Everybody learns at a different pace. It's not a race, guys. It's not a race. It's about learning and learning in a quality way. Learning in what I call a statistically defensible way. Don't learn in a junky way because people will punch holes in your study and then you're done, right? Because then your reputation's ruined as a scientist and then you might as well, go work in a call center, right? So don't learn in a junky way. Learn at a pace that's comfortable for you and then learn and where you're learning quality stuff. But it's not a race, dude. Right? It's not a competition. Just do the best you can. Everybody learns at a different pace. Nothing wrong with it. All right? I didn't even know that kind of breed was possible. Yeah, it's a unique breed, Mickey. Like I said, it's called one of those designer dogs because in nature it can't happen, right? Because in nature, the Chihuahua mom, female, can't give birth. And, as far as like the reproduction side of it, the male Chihuahua can't really reproduce with the female Labrador. Because remember, Labradors are big dogs, right? Like a full-bred Labrador, an adult Labrador, even a female is a huge dog. I mean, a Labrador is what, 40 plus pounds easy? Maybe more, like 50 plus pounds on average. So yeah, it can't happen in nature. So they have to use a doctor or a lab or some sort of insemination or whatever. I'm not exactly sure on the particulars, but yeah, it's a unique breed. It's a unique breed. But if you Google Labra-Wawa, you'll find a bunch of pictures of them, and my dog looks exactly like most of the Labra-Wawa pictures you'll find up there. But yeah, I mean, he basically looks like a puppy. Like everywhere I go, everybody says, "Oh, look at the cute little puppy," but he's like almost 8 years old now. And he's only 20 pounds. Like he's 8 years old, 20 pounds, but he looks like a puppy. Like that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to be like permanent puppies. Because, when in your mind, when you think of a puppy, whether you realize it or not, you're thinking of a Labrador, right? Nobody thinks about a puppy, collie, right? Or a puppy like Scottish Terrier. You think about a Labrador, right? So the Chihuahua part keeps them small. So he's like a permanent puppy. I learned all of this afterward because I just thought he was a cool dog on the website because, the pound has a website and I wanted something small. I didn't want like a big dog. And I just thought, oh, he looks like a cool dog. And, and I learned all this afterwards. So Yassine says, I owe my teachers so much. They really do put a great effort, but you're bringing something very, very unique, which is an impact on the way of thinking. I feel like every session. Well, thank you. My approach on how to tackle real life problems improves a bit. That's why I'm very grateful for the efforts you put and the value you create. Thank you, Yassine. I appreciate that. Yeah, most academics, unfortunately, don't always have that real world experience. So that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to, help with. Kay Siv says, hello again, Dennis. Hello there. Kay, welcome. Kay, remind me where you're from. I can't quite remember, but I do remember your name. I can't remember where you're from. Mickey says, glad he's got a good and stable home now. Yeah, I'm the most stable home he's had. And it's funny because he's shown signs of that. But yeah, it took him a few months to trust me because he just thought I was going to return him again, right? Because it happened so many times. Casual Economist says, what did you use to train your dog? My dog has biting problems too. Okay. So there is a book out there on Amazon. I'll post a link in the Discord, Casual Economist. I believe it's called like How to Train Your Dog in 30 Days or something like that. I believe that's what it's called. It's an old book. I think it was written like in the 80s, maybe even the 70s. But I found it to be very effective. So 2 things. 1, you got to spend time with them, right? You got to dedicate time to sitting down with them and training them. So that's what I would do. After our evening walks, I would spend like 15 to 30 minutes training him. I would give him treats, positive reinforcement and all that good stuff, right? And, you got to spend time is the first thing that the book teaches you and that I believe in. The second thing the book teaches you, and, again, I'm getting this from the book, and because I don't want this to sound awkward to anyone, but I'm getting it from the book, and I have used it and it works. The book talks about how, you got to show your dog positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, right? And when a dog goes to bite you, like my dog had like a nipping problem, right? Where he would try to, snap at you and bite you, right? So what you do is you got to be fast, but you take your thumb, and when they try to bite you, you put your thumb against the bottom of their jaw and then your fingers underneath their jaw. So this is the dog's jaw. You grab it just like that and you hold it. A dog can't clamp down on you when they do that. Something about their bone structure. If you're holding on to their bottom, to the bottom of their jaw, they can't clamp down on you. So you're completely safe. But they find it slightly uncomfortable. So you hold that and you tell them no. And then you let go, and then, that should be the reinforcement they need to learn from that. But if you hold their bottom jaw while they're trying to nip at you, eventually they'll stop because they don't like that feeling. So you can do that and you're completely safe. They're not going to bite your thumb. They literally can't clamp down. So that's what I did. You do that for a couple of nights with them. Whenever they try to nip at you, you're firm with your no, and that solved his biting problem. I think it only took like 4 or 5 days of doing that, but they find it very uncomfortable. So, that serves as the lesson to say, well, I better not do that, right? Because every time I snap, I don't like it. So that's what I did, and it's in the book, and it worked. So it was a really quick solution. It only took a couple days. I mean, it really disappointed me because it made me wonder, like, how much time did the previous owner spend with him? I mean, you got to spend time with the dog. You got to help them out, All right, Kay, that's right. You're from Zimbabwe. Nice. Welcome, Kay. I have a feeling it's kind of late for you guys, some of you guys in Africa. So welcome, Kay. Adam, let us know where you're from. We always ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Leo says, hi guys. Rahul, I love how you're maintaining control of Leo. Rahul, I'll expect your time card report about Leo later this afternoon. It's the end of the week, right? So I'm waiting to hear the time card report later. I know you're over there, keeping score of every day. So Rahul, please go ahead and submit that in triplicate before the end of the business day. I'd appreciate it, and that way we can talk about Leo's attendance. Rahul says it's declining. Yeah, I agree, Rahul. We're gonna have to talk about this. I think a write-up is in order here. Leo says he's going to make an inference study on me. Oh, no. There's no inference. There's a direct correlation. Sorry, Leo, but we don't need to infer anything. See, an inference is a supposition. But no. There is a direct correlation here, my friend. There's no need to infer. That's funny. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that attends, and no matter what time you show up. QR911 says, I'm from Qatar and my major is data science and AI. Welcome. I don't think we've had somebody from Qatar, so welcome. I've always wanted to visit there. I'm sure it's a beautiful country, so welcome, QR. NME Trader, hi Dennis, congrats for your channel. Thank you so much. Let us know where you're from, okay? We always ask people to introduce themselves. But let us know where you're from. All right, guys. So, anybody else that's joining us, let us know where you're from. Let us know, just introduce yourself. Don't have to ask some great questions. But otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me bring up my classroom view. And let's go ahead and get started for today. So, like I said, I want to look at this report by Selby Jennings. And let me know if you need me to zoom in on anything, guys. It looks like I need... Give me a second. I need to refresh my monitor here. There we go. All right. Let me know if you need me to zoom in on anything, guys. But the report we're going to be looking at today is the Quantitative Analytics Research and Trading Guide. And salary guide, specifically. And I'm doing this because a lot of you asked me about being quants. And I know that everybody's interested in that, right? Personally, it's not for me. But if you're interested in that, more power to you, right? So let's take a look at what these yuck yucks at Selby Jennings have to say about it, okay? All right. So we're going to be looking things for like the methodology, the results, their analysis, right? Because yeah, Rahul's saying no, I'm not interested, but it's still healthy to look at studies, Rahul, right? You can understand where the overall market for data science is. You can look at people's methodology. I mean, you can study their methodology and say, yeah, great report, but their methodology stinks, right? And you can do that whether you're interested in the industry or not, right? So it's still healthy to go through this, Rahul. But I hear you. Not everybody's interested, right? All right. So it looks like they're breaking it out between. They're going to give us an overview, U.S., Europe, and APAC. Right? So that sounds like a fair breakout, right? All right. So first thing that's catching my eye is the demand for professionals and talent shortages are an all-time high. That's good, right? That's good for us. Let me see if anything else catches my eye. Nothing else in that overview is really catching my eye. So let's start with the US. Bonus season wasn't quite as strong last year for quants in the US. All right. So if bonuses are important to you, maybe quant isn't the greatest place, right? Firms are being more competitive with their numbers, in other ways, including base salaries. Okay. Doesn't that go against what we just read? We just read that the demand is at an all-time high, right? That's kind of weird. For example, in New York, minimum salaries for a junior quant have moved from around 150K towards 175 to 200K. Personally, I haven't seen that. And guys, having lived in New York, I know that to a lot of people in a lot of parts of the US and certainly in a lot of parts of the world, that sounds like a lot of money. But for New York, I don't know. At 150K, if you want to live in New York proper, you might need a roommate. Depending on how old you are, right? And what your personal situation is. But, assuming that you're a single person, at 150K, that's still roommate level. I think. Yeah. Yeah. For New York, that's still roommate level, right? So to me, those numbers don't sound all that great. And I think they're ambitious. I know that quants can make this, but junior quants sounds a little ambitious. But that's just me. That's just me. All right. I know we have some viewers in Europe. In Europe, depending on country, a compensation has risen by about 15 to 20% across the board in the last year, driven by talent shortages in the region. Wow. 15 to 20% is pretty high. What do you guys think? Okay, so Leo says it's decent in New York City, depends on your lifestyle. You think so, Leo? 150, even 175 after taxes? I mean, what's the take home on that? And what, the average New York apartment now is approaching $6,000 a month? Right? It used to be 5, but now it's about 6. I don't know, Leo. I mean, even 175 after the horrendous New York taxes, I mean, you're lucky to make that, what, like 120 take home? Ish? Right? I mean, you say depends on your lifestyle. Yeah, but I think that lifestyle would have to include a roommate, which to me is not much of a lifestyle. Roommates are not for me, right? And maybe they are for other people, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like a lot, Leo. Yes, 175 on 6K. It's still decent, at least for me. Okay. Okay, well, do you see yourself living alone on that, Leo, or not? Because, you know, maybe you could live alone, but obviously it'd be a very, very small place. And maybe not in Fiddy proper, right? But anyways, you guys let me know what you think about that if you have experience in New York. I think we have a couple people from New York. Leo says you're right, sharing with someone. Yeah. So maybe that's where we differ, Leo, because 175 with a roommate, okay, you're gonna have a little bit of a lifestyle. But roommates aren't for me, right? And they're not for all people, right? So 175 living alone, you're not gonna have a lot at the end of the month, right? Like 175, you want to live alone in New York City proper, you're gonna have to watch your expenses. Leo says, no, my goal is 230 out of New York City. That's a good goal. Ambitious. Very ambitious, but it's a good goal. All right. So this is citing how non-competes in Europe are playing into certain roles or certain hiring, which is important if you're a recruiting firm, right? And Forex has done well in terms of bonuses, which is interesting. I don't know why that would be the case specifically for Forex. So for any of you that live in Europe, you know, maybe you wanna give your opinion on that. All right, for APAC is staying flat for the last year. I like the way they're putting this. Stayed relatively flat due to maturing talents leading to smaller open headcounts. So what does that mean? People aren't retiring, right? People are holding on to their jobs, not retiring. People don't retire. It leaves less opportunities for hiring, right? especially at the junior levels. So that's interesting. That's an interesting APAC observation. Bonuses are down, bonuses are poor, and continuing to see an exodus of people moving from the sell side to the buy side, amplified by the fact that bonuses have been quite disappointing for 2 years running. Okay, good to know. Good to know. And by the way, you know, if you guys don't know this, this is a pro tip for you guys. If you're like at a financial firm or like at a big bank and like you're like a managing director or like a director, you know, like at a high level where, you know, you're basically kind of like running your own show, right? Because each managing director is basically like their own CEO of their section, right? So like if you're at those high levels, they don't tell you you're fired. They just give you a zero bonus. Like seriously, like that's the elegant way to say, you know, might be time to move on. But just so you guys know that's a secret tip. All right. I know we got some PhDs in our chat. What do you guys think? Give me some feedback on this. Would you go work for a hedge fund with a PhD for 160 to 200,000? New York City, and you got those PhD student loans to pay? At a mid-size hedge fund? I wouldn't even know what a mid-size hedge fund is. What is that like? I want to know if they're defining that, but what is that? A mid-size hedge fund would be like what? Like 5 billion? 5 billion under management? Like 5 to 10 billion? Maybe? I'm guessing. You know, from what I know from wealth management. Top hedge fund, top trading firm, 175 to 325. I think 325 is a little ambitious as a base. You might make that for the whole year, but as a base, that sounds a little ambitious. You got to be an exceptional candidate for that. But 175? All right, so give me some feedback, guys. You're a fresh PhD graduate. Are you going to go work for a mid-size hedge fund? For 160 to 200, that's a pretty defined range, right? Would you go work for an investment bank? So they said that bonuses are down at investment banks. An investment bank will work you, right? I mean, 60 plus hour weeks on the regular, 80 is not unheard of, right? What do you guys think? Give me some feedback. Are you doing it? And keep in mind, most of these places are New York, right? So New York plus your federal taxes, take 30 to 35% off that number. And that gives you a rough idea of your take home. What do you guys think? Mickey says, not for me. Okay, why, Mickey? Let us know why. Give us your rationale, right? A data scientist always get a good, not a data scientist, but all scientists always gives rationale, right? Let us know, Mickey. Or anybody else that wants to join in. Give me your rationale. Uh, 1 million won't be bad, you know. Yeah, but where does it say 1 million? I worked for a hedge fund CEO. He'd do 2 million. I don't get your numbers. I don't think it reflects the reality. But this isn't for CEOs. This is for quants. For quantitative analysts. So not sure what you're talking about, the 2 million. Yeah, so just so we're clear on this, guys. This is for being a quant at a at an investment bank or a mid-sized hedge fund or a trading firm, right? It's not for any other position. It's for being a quantitative analyst or quantitative trader, whatever you want to call it, right? Just got lost on the CEO. What CEO reference? Leo, are you drinking again? For me, I don't know if the loss of my sanity working in that kind of environment would be worth it for me. Mickey, I love your answer. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. These firms will work you, right? Because you know what, guys? You know, a lot of people fall in love with these big numbers and these big salaries. But guess what? Like, they're not paying you this unless they think they're getting a value more of that above you, right? Otherwise, employing you would be like a loss, right? So these numbers come at a price, and your sanity might very well be one of them, right? Like as Mickey mentioned. So Mickey, I love how you're taking that holistic view to it, right? I love how you're looking at it from a total perspective, and you're right. For some people, it's not worth it, and in many ways, that's why they offer these numbers, right? Like, you know, if you think about like the investment bank one, right? 145 to 175, that sounds great. You know, and Leo says, hey, I can live on that. Okay. But now you're not going to the gym. Every meal is being eaten out because you're at the office until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And you don't like taking the subway at that hour. So now you got to take Uber home every night. Sometimes the company pays for your ride home, but you know, now you gotta, you know, spend more on Uber because you're getting out late and you don't want to take the subway at that hour, and you probably shouldn't. So, you know, like, is that worth it? Like, is that worth it to your health and your sanity and in the dollars and cents? Maybe, maybe not, right? So Mickey, great reply. I love how you're taking a holistic view to it. Enemy trader, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're from. Mickey says, I prioritize being able to learn and grow, but also not having to sacrifice time and life outside of work. Rex says, Mickey, same here, 100%. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. You know what this reminds me of, guys? And I think it was the last time we looked at one of these guides. We started talking about what makes a good manager, right? And Mickey, that's all, in my view, you know, let me know if I'm wrong, but in my view, that's ultimately what you're talking about, right? You can't learn and grow if the managers and other people above you aren't willing to teach, right? Or if that company doesn't offer good training, right? Like, that's one of the things I'm most grateful for, where I've been lucky to work for people who are very good and I'm able to learn from. And I've worked for companies that give you excellent leadership and communication training. Like, I love that. I'm totally grateful for that. So I hear you, Mickey. That's important to me too. And it looks like it's important to Rex too. So yeah, I totally prioritize that, right? But you know, it's also a very, very difficult thing for you to get during the interviews, right? Like how do you figure that out for yourself, right? It's not always easy. But I hear you. I'm with you on that, Mickey. But yeah, okay. So let's look at some of the other stuff. So that was PhDs. Oh, and by the way, guys, again, as I mentioned earlier, remember, a PhD is rarely going to come out of school without student loans. So now that 175 ain't looking so great, because a PhD, you might graduate with fairly hefty student loans, right? I mean, what's a cheap PhD nowadays? 100,000? Maybe more? Right? Probably more, actually. 100,000 actually sounds low. But you guys can tell me that. Mickey says, yes, that's one of the things I value highly. My work now has allowed me the time to be studying my degree part-time. That flexibility has been priceless. Great. Great, Mickey. Sounds like you're in a good spot there. Enemy Trader says, I'm working in Germany, but I'm from Greece. Great, welcome, Enemy Trader. I think it's your first time. So Enemy Trader says, I think it would be okay for me, assuming that I didn't want to continue on researching and analyzing papers in academia. Market always has more to offer in the long run. Yeah, sure. Yeah, academia can be boring too, right? Like you can reach a limit where you're like, hey, I'm kind of maxed out on what I can learn in academia. I can see that. But trader, like Mickey says though, market has a lot to offer, but it comes at a cost, right? I mean, I like the band The Streets UK, and what's that album? What's the album they have? A pound don't come for free, or a grand don't come for free, right? So I hear you, but they're not just giving away the money, right? Yeah, I think it's called A Grand Don't Come for Free. Great band. I really enjoy them. All right. So on the sell side, they're breaking it out to associates, vice presidents, director, executive director, and managing director. So for those of you that don't know, your associates and your AVPs are going to be like your entry-level positions, entry-level early career positions. Your vice presidents are your mid-career positions. These are like your leads, like your lead data scientist, your lead analyst. Director and executive director, or sometimes they'll be senior vice presidents. That tends to be like the first level of management, right? And then your managing directors and then your directors and managing director is what's known as executive management, right? That's usually the breakdown in these financial companies. It'll differ in titles and things like that, but this is a pretty reasonable breakdown that they have. I would have included senior vice presidents because, again, that's technically the first level of management, like officially at most firms, even though you do have some vice presidents that are managers. Some, not a lot. But this is a fairly reasonable breakdown in case you guys don't understand it. But you should be thinking that these first two are non-managers and these bottom two are like the official managers. Okay? So what do you guys think of this? Would you go be an associate for 175 to 195? Now keep in mind, the associates are basically the worker bees, right? The associates and the AVPs, they're the worker bees, right? They're the ones getting the emails at 9 o'clock at night saying, hey, I need this by tomorrow, right? So what do you guys think? 175, 195? Getting emails at all hours? Who's taking that or who's not taking that? Let me know. Leo says, I wouldn't, not worthy. Okay. Yep. If you want to expand on that, Leo, I'd love to know. I'm guessing you're going to express some of the similar things that Mickey did earlier, right? Affects your lifestyle and all that. Rahul, thanks for the honesty. This quants thing makes me anxious and weak. Appreciate the honesty, Rahul. Yeah, it's not for everybody, right? Like it's not for everybody. So yeah, that's something to think about, right? Maybe you don't have the energy for it or the stomach for it, the lifestyle for it. Associates and AVPs tend to be people who aren't married yet, right? They typically don't have kids, right? You may or may not have a significant other. Very hard to keep relationships up with the hours you'll be working. So yeah. So I appreciate the honesty, Rahul. And, if that's what, like your personal assessment, then you should stick with that, right? I think I would be taking that if I needed to break into the industry. Okay. If you wanted to do it just for the experience, get your name out there. Okay. Sure. It's gonna require a lot on your part, but yeah. Rahul says all of the above. Yeah, Rahul. Appreciate the honesty. And it's good to have that self-awareness. Working in the financial industry and working in certain positions is not always for everybody. Not only lifestyle, there's places paying more for PhD levels. Also, there's licenses you need to get. I would accept the downsides for better paying. Give me an example of that, Leo. The licenses you need to get, yeah, you do, but they're not difficult. If you have a PhD, you'll be able to pass the licensing exams. They're not difficult. You can't have a bad background, right? You gotta have a clean criminal and financial background. But you wouldn't be working at a bank if you didn't have that anyways, right? I mean, the bank itself will put you through a background check. Through a very extensive background check. But the license is not a barrier. You'll be fine, right? All right. So let's look at this. Quantitative research. So they're not quite listing it as entry level. They're saying quantitative research after 2 to 5 years. But you can break into the industry as a quantitative researcher. Especially if you develop a specialty, right? But this one pays less. $155 in New York, not a lot of money. You probably won't be living in New York proper. Right? Or you will, but it'll be a long commute. What do you guys think about that? And also, by the way, I'm highlighting this because it's about the same hours as the ABP, right? The quantitative researcher is still the worker bee. Maybe not as many like tight deadlines. Like, it's 9 p.m. and I need this by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Maybe not like that type of deadline, but still a lot of hours, right? The job I shared asked for 6 years, 230 in NYC. And that was non-financial industry, Leo? Or let me know what that was about. But what do you guys think about the 155 to 170? That seems brutal to me. I mean, 155 to 170, even if you do have a girlfriend, you're not going to be taking her out to dinner in New York City very often. It was fintech. But, I mean, Leo, that's nearly the same as working in the financial industry. And also, I mean, the only difference with the fintech and working for like an established bank is that the fintech is likely to land you in jail, right? Like, or to lead you to a suspended license. Working for fintechs is risky, man. Like, don't think that's risk-free, right? I mean, just because it's a fintech doesn't mean like, and that's a good thing. It just means that they're going to ask you to push the edge more. I mean, have you guys ever worked for most startups? Most startup CEOs are psychopaths, man. Like, I'm super picky when I take on a startup because they are psychopaths. If you guys want a good watch, go onto YouTube and look for the TED Talk that had the study on Silicon Valley psychopaths. That'll change your mind on startups real quick. And I've seen it in real life. The last startup contract I did was for a crypto startup. Those people are psychos. Okay? So yeah, don't think that just because it's a fintech paying $230, it's a nice setup. I'd be super careful on that, Leo. Super careful. They're gonna land you in jail is what they're gonna do. Yeah, be careful of that. Vengeance, or is it Vengeance? Yeah, Vengeance, how are you? Good to see you. Interesting name. Speaking of psychopaths, hello, Vengeance. Yeah. Enemy Trader says that was the magic comment. What magic comment are you referring to? Let us know, Trader. Yeah, Vengeance, welcome to the stream. Let us know where you're from, Vengeance. Crypto startup is dangerous. It is dangerous. It is absolutely dangerous. Oh God, I want to tell you guys a story about that one. That was a good one. I'm trying to think about the stories I can tell you. Because these guys were crazy. All right, I'll tell you guys two stories. All right? And then you tell me if you want to work for startups after this, okay? I don't want to go into too many details, but I've done a lot of work with crypto, both personally and for startups, okay? And I'm not going to say the time period, I'm not going to say the company, but I've done plenty of work in crypto. Trust me, I know more about crypto than you do. I'll just leave it at that. So I was working for this crypto startup, and they had a backer, like an angel investor, who had set them up in a penthouse apartment in one of the high rises in the city that I was in. Okay. Hey, thanks for coming, Rahul. Appreciate you, buddy. All right. So the angel investor had set them up in this penthouse in this high rise. So it was a really nice setup, really nice view, right? And there were maybe 10 people total working out of this penthouse. And because of that, they found it convenient to never lock the front door. It was this big, beautiful penthouse in this huge high rise, never locked the front door. And that annoyed me to no end. That annoyed me so much because it was such a simple, both business and security practice, right? But they never, ever, ever locked the front door. And I was annoyed to no end. But, it was an interesting contract, so I kept working for them. So I remember one Sunday, there were 4 of us working there. Because the beauty of this startup was that, you could just come and go as you wanted. They were literally we don't care, just work. So, I'm a morning guy, so I would show up at 5 a.m. and just walk in and start working. They were totally cool with it. And by the way, some of the founders live there. They live there. So, I would walk in and sometimes they'd come out and they'd eat cereal and, hey, how you doing? They live there and they work there, but it was just cool. And there were other good things. We had this traditional scrum table. I don't know if you guys have ever sat at a scrum table, but it's usually a big ass piece of wood. And there's a hole in the center where you put all the wires and you just sit around. It's fun. It was a fun environment. But they never locked the front door. Super annoying. So one Sunday, we're there, and there's 4 of us working. And it was a beautiful day out, because, we had a really good view of the city. And we were like, hey, we should all go to lunch together, because, there was a lot of restaurants and cafes at the bottom. So we were like, yeah, it's a beautiful day. Let's go to lunch. Yeah, it's beautiful. Let's go, we'll have a nice cafe lunch outside. The 4 of us were friendly with each other. Yeah, let's do it. So we go out to leave. And as we're doing that, one of the guys says, wait a minute, there's nobody in the bedrooms. They're gone. So if we leave, the apartment will be completely empty. And it had never been empty because, you always had people coming and going. And they were like, it'll be empty if we go to lunch. And I said, well, just get the key and lock it, right? And it turns out that nobody knew where the key was. Like, they had left the door open so long that nobody even knew how to lock the door. And the apartment was going to be empty because the founders, in traditional founder way, it happened to be Coachella weekend. So they were like hundreds and hundreds of miles away in Coachella. So the key to the apartment for this multi-million-dollar crypto startup was like hundreds of miles away because the founders went to Coachella. And none of us had the ability to lock the front door. And just to give you an idea, when I say like multi-million-dollar company, I mean it. Like, I'm not trying to give too much away here, but like the founders testified in front of Congress, like the U.S. Congress. Like it was like a big startup, right? But like that's how big they were. They had testified in front of Congress. But the key to this, beautiful multi-million-dollar apartment for this tens of millions of dollars crypto startup was like hundreds of miles away because the founders went to Coachella and nobody had the key. Like, I just thought that was incredibly stupid, right? And then to add to that, the second part of that was that like 2 weeks after this, like when we couldn't go because they were at Coachella and nobody had the key, 2 weeks after this, we had this big, like, really official feeling like corporate meeting. And I remember that I was so annoyed because at the meeting, they were discussing how they needed to like formalize a couple of different things. And because now they were going to be like this serious financial firm, they were going to get all of us kidnap insurance. Because that's something that you usually do at a bank, right? They give the executives kidnapping insurance. Because people will see you as a ransom target. So in this big formal meeting that we had in this penthouse, they were like, "Oh yeah, we got to get kidnapping insurance. Yeah, all the executives do this. So we're a serious financial company now." And I remember I sat there and I was like, "Kidnapping insurance? Can we start by just locking the door? Like, are you guys fucking morons? Like, we don't even lock the door, and you guys are talking about kidnapping insurance?" Like, it was just one of those like surreal things. Like, are you guys psycho? You're worried about being kidnapped when we don't even lock the door? And also keep in mind, sometimes when I would work, I would walk in because we had like these money counting machines and like all this other like money hardware that they would actually stock with like $100 bills. So like we had money like laying around like in the living room of this penthouse. Like I remember one time I walked in and one of the machines had gone crazy and like and there was money all over the floor. So it looked like, they had like an adult entertainer the night before. So I thought that was funny. But it was just like one of those like am I like in Psycho Land right now? You guys are talking about, paying like Lloyd's of London this ridiculous price for kidnapping insurance when we don't even lock the front door? Like, so like people who work for startups, like, they're not stable, guys. Like, startups are not everything that they look out to be. So Leo, if you're talking about a fintech that's willing to pay you a lot of money, that just means they're going to ask you to do like, potentially illegal things. That's all that means, dude. Right? So be careful with that, guys. Like, everybody glamorizes startups, but there are some psychos in startups. So anyways, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to talk about that story anymore because those guys were ridiculous. Actually, a funny end note to that. So I stopped working for them because it was too annoying. It just wasn't worth it. But 3 years later, about 3 years later, all of a sudden my email went crazy. Like my email got like seriously, my email got like 5,000 messages in like 5 minutes. Somehow their install of Slack had gone crazy, and their Slack emailed me every single Slack message they had sent in the last 3 years. So, guys, fintechs are not these, these button-up professional startups. We're going to change the world. They're usually just a bunch of morons. So be careful with that, guys. NME Trader says, with 155, you won't take your girl out for dinner in New York City that often. Yeah, I completely agree, NME. You'll be eating in a lot. A lot. Chipotle and Cava will be your best friends. Yeah, I mean, you're not living high at all. I mean, even on your own, even if you, because that's assuming you can even afford a girlfriend, Trader, right? At 155, you'll be doing a lot of grocery shopping with her. At 155 alone, like just by yourself, no girlfriend, even then you won't be eating out a lot. Yeah, so I completely agree with you, with you, Enemy. I mean, I know what I was making when I was there. And, I was a manager, data science manager, so, I'm not going to lie, right? And, nobody needed to start a GoFundMe for me. And, I have an addiction to nice cars, but, I wasn't living high on the hog either, right? Oh, that's hilarious. Leo says, I'm in Cava right now. So, well, yeah, I mean, Leo, a guy like you probably lives there, man. Like Cava, Chipotle, the halal carts. I mean, that's going to be that's your rotation. You can't afford anything else. You're not going to Carbone. You're not going to be going to steak, right? I mean, Cava, Chipotle, and the halal carts. That's the standard rotation. For those of you guys that don't know, right? Because I know some of you are outside the U.S. Chipotle is like a burrito, kind of Americanized Mexican food. Cava is like Mediterranean food, and the halal carts are the traditional street carts you see on the street. Some of them are very good, right? Some halal carts are very delicious. But I mean, that'll basically be your food rotation. And then some companies do pay for Uber Eats at night, right? Like if you're there after a certain hour. I remember when I would work late and I would leave my office, like I would leave right before the Uber, because the company will have a rule, like you can't order Uber Eats until like after 8 p.m. or something like that. So if you leave like around 7:45, 7:50, on your way home, like I remember that when I would leave the office, I would pass up this long, like 50-person line, more than that, of all the Uber drivers that were bringing orders because they also knew about the 8 p.m. cutoff. So, they would be there exactly at 8 p.m. to deliver. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you will get lucky. They will pay for Uber Eats. But yeah, I mean, Chipotle, Cava, the carts. What else is there? I guess that's it. Right? I mean, you could probably do Starbucks. But yeah, I hear you, Leo. I am not surprised at all that you're at Cava. All right, guys. So that's enough of the stories. That's enough of the salaries. It's good to see where you guys are at. I commend you guys for prioritizing yourselves, prioritizing your mental health, prioritizing what's important to you. I saw that in a couple messages in the chat, which is fantastic, right? And keep on doing that. If that's truly what's important for you, stick with it. It's important to have those principles. If that's truly what's important to you, then stick with it. I commend you guys for that. All right? So, thank you so much. If you have any other questions on this, you want career advice, let me know. Send me a message, post it on our Discord. Discord link is in the chat. But really appreciate all of you. And as always, oh, by the way, Sunday I do my tutorials. So Sunday, I have something special planned. I just came up with the idea today. You guys are going to love it. I'm going to post it in the Discord later. Come join me on Sunday. We do a tutorial. So take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. And I'll see you next time, guys.